There's 4 rules I live by in the crypto space to have success. Rule number 1, education is key. Education is everything. Rule number 2, never invest money that you cannot afford to lose. Rule number 3, always get a return on investment back as fast as possible. And rule number 4, where do you see yourself in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now? What are you willing to do to make that happen? Make a decision, take action, stay focused, do not get distracted. Now, following these rules is not going to guarantee you success, but it will at least minimize your risk. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the most that we can ask for. All right, this is Sunday, the first Sunday of 2020. 1 more to go? 52 weeks in a year. The countdown is on. As you see, I've got even on my computer, I've got a countdown clock to the Bitcoin halving taking place. 128 days from now, May 13th, 2020. So let's go ahead and look at what's going on in the market right now. Crypto market cap is up 199 billion, is 2.4% up in the last 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance has fallen slightly to 68%. So the altcoins got a little bit of a push. Bitcoin is at 74.65, up 2.2% last 24 hours, up 2.1% last 7 days. Ethereum is up 3.4%, Ripple 2.2%, Litecoin 4.8, EOS 4.9, Bitcoin SV 6.2, Monero 6.5. Let's see what's the best performers last 24 hours. V Systems 30%, Dash 19.2%, Beam, Made, Safecoin, Zcash 12.9%. Any other top coins? Ethereum Classic 6.7. Who are the worst performers last 24 hours? Ooh, wow. How is Seal the worst performer when it's up 0.9% last 24 hours? That doesn't make any sense. I see Horizon is down 5.5%. Tomo Chain, Waves, Energy. Yeah, that's weird. I've never seen that before. How it's flipped like even this. Stratus shows above TrueSD. Interesting. All right, take a look at the news. First up, Coinbase CEO says 100 million newbies will interact with cryptocurrency in a wave of adoption. 100 million newbies. Talk about mainstream. See, this hasn't gone mainstream yet. The next wave of cryptocurrency adopters won't care about the asset class, argues Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong. They'll arrive because of new innovations from startup companies creating interesting applications. When developers design these platforms and services for crypto only, people will opt in. The next 100 million people who get exposure to cryptocurrency will not come from them caring about cryptocurrency, but because they are trying to play some game. What? Hold up. You guys hear that? Because they're trying to play some game, use a decentralized social network, or earn a living. And using cryptocurrency is the only way to use that particular application. In other words, 2 years ago, there's something I said. After cryptocurrency is going to disrupt, I'm sorry, that's blockchain tectonics. Blockchain is going to disrupt every single major industry on the planet today. And cryptocurrency is the greatest economic shift in wealth in the history of mankind for the most amount of people. So it doesn't matter what you think or believe. It doesn't matter if you understand this or not, or even if you like it or you're for it. In order to be able to move around and interact in society, you have to use it. Because jobs are going to start paying your salary in crypto. If you want access to gaming, you're going to have to use crypto. All the things you love to do, like getting coffee from Starbucks, is going to be in crypto. The infrastructure has been being built for the last 2 years. So the next wave isn't going to come from people excited about Bitcoin and wanting to be Bitcoin millionaires. It's going to become because they just want to do what they do in everyday life. This is a very important point here. I didn't think we were at this level yet. I thought maybe another year from now away. But this is first exposure. You know, in 2017, what also helped Bitcoin explode is because a lot of people in the direct selling home-based business industry, when Bitcoin was at $1,000 a coin, there were a bunch of companies that sprouted up in 2017 promising riches in Bitcoin. So people got their first exposure to Bitcoin because they joined those companies, and those companies required you to open up a Bitcoin wallet, required you to buy Bitcoin for the first time just so you can have access to the platform. So that was a lot of people's first exposure. And then you had all these thousands upon thousands and millions of people for the very first time getting Bitcoin, not because they just wanted to buy it to have it, but because they needed it to operate in the business. I want 25% a month on my money. I want 1 to 2% daily guaranteed. I want this, I want that. Hold my Bitcoin for 8 months. I want to mine. I got to buy Bitcoin for the first time. See that now that's going to happen for the mainstream media, not media, mainstream people. Your brother, your cousin, your nephews, your coworkers, people that love to do online gambling. For example, the international business that I talk about, Crowd One, online gambling, e-gaming. You need crypto. They're signing up one person every 3 seconds. Over 1 million people have joined since I joined. Let me give a special shout out to my cousin from Colorado, Marnita. So this is how your mom and your pops and everybody's going to get in on this, because they have to. As a key driver of adoption, new crypto startups are poised to set off a decade where entrepreneurs use crypto to raise money on a global scale. What? Use crypto to raise. What else are we talking about right now? Those of you that's in my network. Philanthropy, charity, using crypto to raise money. Wow. I believe that by the end of the 2020s, almost every tech startup will have some sort of cryptocurrency component. Every single one. Rapid growth will create a snowball effect, enticing bigger and bigger players. Eventually, just about every financial institution will have some sort of cryptocurrency operation, and most funds will keep a portion of their assets in cryptocurrencies, partially due to its uncorrelated returns. Something like 90% of the money in the world is locked up in institutions. So this will likely drive a lot of demand for crypto assets. The next decade will also be characterized by major strides in maturing market structure. Central bank digital currencies such as the digital yuan, basket digital currencies backed by consortiums like Libra, Center, and possibly the International Monetary Fund, and scalability, a critical catalyst, says Armstrong. Once we see blockchains with several orders of magnitude scalability improvements, we will see new applications start to develop more rapidly. I got to say this article, this is important. This is an important milestone. And it's coming from the Coinbase CEO. He's figured it out. Next up, former CFTC chairman spotlights Binance.us as it joins Powerhouse Crypto Committee. The former chairman of the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, Christopher Giancarlo, was spotlighting on a new announcement from Binance.us. The cryptocurrency exchange is joining the executive committee of the Chamber of Digital Commerce, a leading advocacy group fostering blockchain innovation and education, and the promotion of Bitcoin and digital currencies. According to the announcement from Binance.us, which allows Americans to buy and sell over 25 digital assets by licensing technology from leading crypto exchange Binance, the company is working with policymakers to provide digital wealth management and trading services for the new economy. We continue to build for America's acceptance, access, and use of digital assets, providing an easy and secure way for users to use their USD to buy and sell a diverse selection of digital assets. Joining the 40 members of the executive committee, Finance.us is dedicated to serving everyday Americans and enhancing innovation, access to investments, and regulatory development regarding the current and future digital industry. Based in Washington, D.C., the Chamber of Digital Commerce was founded in July 2014. Members of its executive committee include leaders who are building regulated fiat on-ramps and bridges between legacy finance and emerging digital assets, with the goal of developing platforms that are fully compliant. Finance.us joins BitPay, Bittrex, Fidelity, IBM, Emergo, Gemini, Maker, and R3, among other members. Giancarlo, whose pro-crypto stance has earned him the nickname Crypto Dad, joined the organization's advisory board last September. You see that? You know who else is going to be cashing in? Is Crypto Mom. Just watch. When she leaves the SEC, she's going to have a seven-figure income in one of these companies. She set herself up very nicely with that. All right. Next up, reports $68.4 trillion tidal wave is coming for Bitcoin. $68.4 trillion tidal wave. The fact that I see that word trillion in there, that got my attention. A new report from the digital asset manager CoinShares suggests a massive transfer of wealth is set to benefit Bitcoin. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold up. Let's go back to September. When did I figure it out? It was around May 2017 when I started researching Bitcoin and crypto heavily. I was self-educating. And I realized one thing. Cryptocurrencies is going to represent the greatest economic shift in wealth in the history of mankind. But hold up. For the most amount of people. For the most amount of people. Why is that distinction necessary? There have been other major shifts of wealth in the history of mankind before, but that has not been available to everybody. You have to be born in the right family, the blue blood. But here, this economic shift in wealth, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, if you have an education or not, what language you speak, what country you're from, what family you're born in. None of that matters. All you need is a cell phone, access to the internet, and a willingness to learn. Even if you've never had a bank account before, even if you live in the most remote village or hut in the world, none of that matters. I figured it out in 2017. Now look at this. Here we are, 2020, almost 3 years later. Almost 3 years later, and what do they say? A new report from the digital asset manager CoinShares suggests a massive transfer of wealth is set to benefit Bitcoin. That's why I am in Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been the most successful asset over the last decade. By far, 9 million% increase. According to the firm, about $68.4 trillion in wealth owned by baby boomers and the silent generation. What does that mean? The silent generation. Baby boomers is not the silent generation. Are you talking about my grandparents, the greatest generation, World War II? Well, this wealth will be handed down to millennials and Gen X over the next 25 years. And millennials' investing habits appear to be quite different than their forefathers. CoinShares highlights a survey from Blockchain Capital that shows a significant portion of respondents would rather own Bitcoin than government bonds, stocks, real estate, and gold. Boomers retiring, huge shift in labor force. And millennials would rather own Bitcoin than own government bonds, stocks, real estate, and gold. Wow. See, I'm a Gen Xer. Oh, okay, so the greatest generation was the silent generation, my grandparents. What they're saying. Millennials, post-millennials. 68.4 trillion is set to be inherited over the next 25 years. The institutional asset manager Grayscale also points to the huge shift in wealth as a potential boon for BTC. The firm says it's impossible to tell just how much capital may flow into Bitcoin, but managing director Michael Sonnenschein says he believes there's no doubt the leading cryptocurrency is resonating with the millennial audience. A separate study from the Charles Schwab found millennials are choosing to buy Grayscale's Bitcoin-backed trust over Netflix, Disney, Microsoft, and Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway. That's important. Ripple news. Senior Director of Talent Acquisition at Ripple says the company is looking for a new senior software engineer. The position is based in London, is designed to help the company build the next generation of payment applications that enable banks to instantly settle cross-border payments to create the Internet of Value. Thank you, Mr. Leach. Yeah, 1925 to 1945. That's my grandma. My grandma's 96 years old. That's when she was born. Ripple doesn't explicitly state whether the new engineer will build on the Ripple ledger, but the company says the position will focus on creating new solutions to help banks execute settlements in seconds. Litecoin news. The Litecoin Foundation says it's partnering with the crypto custody giant BitGo. In February of 2019, BitGo announced comprehensive insurance protection for its custodial assets for up to $100 million through Lloyd's, the world's specialist insurance and reinsurance market. Litecoin creator Charlie Lee recently said the foundation has a total of about $200,000 in assets. All right, and yeah, that's an article I want to save. Let's go with geopolitics. I've been talking about this the last couple of days. How what's going on in the world is going to affect you personally and your investments in crypto. Retaliation. Experts predict cyber attack escalation on centralized systems following U.S. killing of top Iranian general. Wait a minute. I just saw something on the news on my phone this morning. Let me see if I can find that again. That Iran has already, they took over one government website and put up a picture of a bloody Donald Trump and said that this is the beginning or something like that. Like I said yesterday, that America has the biggest, baddest military on the planet. No country can go toe-to-toe with us on the military. But there are other ways to attack us that could actually hurt us more than a military strike. Nobody is going to be able to strike the American homeland like that unless you're doing a terrorist like 9/11. But there ain't going to be no bombs falling on us. We have two oceans to the east and west, Canada to the north, and Mexico to the south. That's why we survived World War I and World War II. But what if you attack our infrastructure, our cyber network? That can hurt us. Our economy, that can really hurt us. So let's see what's going on here. Experts predict cyber attack escalation. Iran's most powerful general, Qasem Soleimani, was killed on Friday morning in an airstrike sanctioned by President Donald Trump. The attack occurred outside of Baghdad airport. Now, let's be perfectly clear. as an American. This dude was no saint. He is directly responsible for the attacks and deaths of hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans and American allies over the last couple of decades. He's directly responsible for that. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to get into politics on why now, why not before, but there's going to be consequences. There's going to be consequences. So it doesn't matter what you personally believe. This is what is. So we have to be prepared for what's going to come next. A total of 6 people were killed and 3 were critically injured, reports Reuters. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani swears revenge for Soleimani's death. Now, we've heard Iranians, Syrians, Palestinians for the last 30 years chanting death to America, death to Israel, run Israel into the ocean. We've heard all of that before. Do they actually have the power to do so? No. Well, death to Americans, yes. Not death to America. But this is a little bit different. I want you to think one of the top generals in America who might be beloved by all. The only one I could think of, like General Norman Schwarzkopf or Colin Powell. Imagine Russia or Iran doing a targeted strike, because in those countries, they see General Norman Schwarzkopf or Colin Powell, they see them the same way we might see a Soleimani, as responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people in the Middle East, because they were in charge of our wars. And how many deaths have occurred because of that? Imagine them taking out Schwarzkopf or Colin Powell. How would we in America react? Well, I'm telling you right now, we'll bomb that country to rubble. We have the means to do so. But Iran doesn't have the means to bomb America to rubble. But will they sit and do nothing? Will they just go out in the streets and burn American flags and continue to chant death to America? How's that different from any other day? That's the same thing. They do that anyway. But this is different, though. They're not going to sit back. So we have to prepare for the inevitable, but then just like every cause and effect, if they do something that impacts us, you think we're going to sit back and just let that go? That's what it's called by escalation. We can hit them harder than they can hit us, but they can still hurt us if they do hit us. So both sides are going to be hurt. In the end, we're going to win, but we're going to be hurt. So we got to be prepared to survive it. So the U.S. Embassy has issued a statement urging American citizens to depart Iran immediately via airline while possible. The security alert reads, due to Iranian-backed militia attacks at the U.S. Embassy compound, all public consular operations are suspended until further notice. Soleimani was known as the most powerful general in Iran and as the chief architect of Tehran's proxy wars in the Middle East. His slaying could trigger a much larger conflict between the U.S. and Iran, endangering Iranian citizens and U.S. troops in neighboring Iraq and Syria. According to a statement by the U.S. Department of Defense, General Soleimani was actively developing plans to attack American diplomats and service members in Iraq and throughout the region. While experts predict that Rouhani's efforts to retaliate will extend far beyond Iran through cyber attacks. We already saw that this morning. They did take over one of our government agencies' websites. Blockchain and Bitcoin supporters suggest that a distinct advantage of decentralized systems is that they remove single points of failure, effectively thwarting coordinated attacks on large databases through controlled by governments as well as companies that remain at risk by harvesting trolls of digital information. Oh, I didn't even think of that. Using the blockchain as a defensive measure against cyber attacks. Wow, I didn't even think of that because the blockchain can't be hacked. You'd have to hack the entire internet. Huh. Says John Holtquist, Director of Intelligence Analyst FireEye, given the gravity of the operation last evening, we are anticipating an elevated threat from Iranian cyber threat actors. And don't think that they can't do it. Do you know what one of the major sources of income for North Korea is? Still in Bitcoin, especially 2017 and 18. They were hacking everything in South Korea and Japan and China. Still in Bitcoin. They've got university classes designed to teach their people how to steal Bitcoin. They do. It's state sanctioned in North Korea. And if North Korea can do it, what do you think Iran can do? Because we will probably see an uptick in espionage, primarily focused on government systems, as Iranian actors seek to gather intelligence and better understand the dynamic geopolitical environment. We also anticipate disruptive and destructive cyber attacks against the private sphere. Prior to JCPOA, Iran carried out such attacks against the U.S. financial sector, as well as other businesses, and probed other critical infrastructure. Since the agreement, and despite the erosion of relations between Iran and the U.S., Iran has restrained similar activity to the Middle East. In light of these developments, resolve to target the U.S. private sector could supplant previous restraint. Aj Jamal Jaffer, Vice President for Strategy and Partnerships, Iran Net Cybersecurity. The U.S. strike that killed Qasem Soleimani is likely to generate some significant response from the Iranians, and that response could very well come in the form of a major cyber attack. In this heightened threat environment, companies in key critical infrastructure industries should be working together to identify potential threats and defend one another by sharing critical cyber threat information at scale and speed to create a collective defense capability. That is true. This is going to be a new test. The Russians, the Iranians, North Koreans are going to be poking the system like never before now. Because to them, they are, in their eyes, they're at war. They're at war. To us, we don't see it that way. We don't see us as at war yet. All we see is we eliminated a threat that was having an imminent threat to more American lives. So it was measured. There would have been a huge difference if we bombed him in Iran instead of Iraq. Huge difference. Imagine, let me give it another name. Any U.S. top general being taken out in the United States. That would have been all of Congress would have come together immediately, Republicans and Democrats, doesn't matter who was taken out, and would have done a 100% unanimous declaration of war. So that is what Iran is doing right now. The most immediate threat is the Strait of Hormuz. Them cutting it off and stopping 40% of worldwide oil supply. They're not going to do that just yet. And the reason why is because they are also looking at the politics. They see that United States does not have consensus. What does that mean? Unlike 9/11 and the first Gulf War when Iraq invaded Kuwait, the rest of the world, the Western world, is not jumping to America's side on this, saying, yeah, let's go get Iran. They're not. It's the opposite. They believe we had Iran in a box with the nuclear deal that Obama put together. When Trump became president, he threw that out in the trash and went down this path. Our allies did not agree with that. So our current administration is not fostering our allies to be by our side. We have this nationalistic, we're doing it on our own. So you guys figure out your own way. That also comes with consequences. Now, if we're about to go to war, is the UK going to be with us on this? Is France and Germany? So if I was Iran, I wouldn't do anything to piss off England, Germany, France, Spain, Italy. I wouldn't do anything to piss them off. And you know what would piss them off is if they block off the entire world's oil supply. Now they're going to create more enemies against them. I would try to isolate the United States and separate them from their allies. So the way they're going to be strategic about this. And one way to do that is by doing cyber attacks and targeted attacks at different U.S. embassies and things like that. They're going to make sure that they are just out for the U.S. In December, Rouhani urged the creation of a cryptocurrency powering a special banking and financial system to liberate Muslim nations. The Muslim world should be designing measures to save themselves from the domination of the United States dollar and the American financial regime. This is another thing that's going to push them towards this even faster. You know, they don't want any more sanctions, so they want to get rid of the U.S. dollar. Following the drone strike that killed Soleimani, Bitcoin jumped 5% to 7,300. However, analyst Matty Greenspan, founder of crypto research firm Quantum Economics, sees limited correlation between Bitcoin's price rise and the Iranian market. He writes in a newsletter published on Friday, the case for Bitcoin to rise in the face of Iranian geopolitical strife is certainly understood. However, the Iranian market in and of itself is likely too small and slow to have caused this move single-handedly. More likely, one or several players have been waiting on the side for a good buying opportunity below 7,000 per coin, and it seems one has presented itself. Yes and no. I covered this. If you're part of Coinbit Pro, I did a special training yesterday, the first training of 2020. And I'm going to just be brief on this. If we look at what happened in Bitcoin and crypto over the last 7 days, and you do not look at geopolitics, you know what? I'm actually going to pull up Binance, because this is going to, and I'll do it on CoinGecko. So I'm going to prove a point here. Last 7 days. You guys are going to get some free education real quick. I'm proving a point here. Advanced. I'm going to show you exactly what the market was doing before Soleimani was blown up, and then how it disrupted what was naturally taking place. So I don't agree with what he says there, because it's not about Iranians deciding to buy Bitcoin. It's the rest of the world. All right, we got that dip there. Okay, now let me pull up CoinGecko. Okay, the last 7 days. I need to. Yeah, Polonius would be able to show. All right, here's January 2nd. That's when he got blown up. The market was already in a dive going below, it went below $6,000. I mean, below $7,000. You see here, Thursday, January 2nd, went below, it dropped. Now, if you're a trader, there's a strategy that we call buying the dip. And if you're using that strategy, you always wait for the third dip to occur. The third. Now, I'm going to show you what took place here. At this point, this was January 2nd there. Let me go back even more. This is December 29th. So December 29th, the price of Bitcoin had got at one point up to 7,400. And then it was bouncing around and dropping. December 30th, came back up, down. So we saw this was a trend, a downward trend since December 29th. But here's what took place. It started to, consolidate between 7,100 and 7,200. It started to squeeze, and then we saw some major dips. 7,200 to 7,100, that wasn't that major. Popped back up. We saw another dip here. Saw another dip here, but here's the major one. Here's what I would have been playing. From here, one dip. Look at this. Boom. One dip, two dip. This is what should have been. You see this line down here? This should have been the third dip, which meant this should have come down to about right here, about 68, 6,700. And then it would have started to climb a little bit back up. But what interrupted this natural progression? What happened? See, the charts can't tell you this. January 2nd, Soleimani gets blown up. And then the market does this. This is an anomaly. This is an outside force that caused this reaction. This was the bombing. Not because Iranians ran to buy Bitcoin. It's because the rest of the people in the world are seeing a threat of a war, and that it might affect the stock market, and people decided to put their money into safe havens. Because gold also rose at the same time. So people put it into gold, and they put it into Bitcoin. And then it kept going up. Now, we have to wait and see. This is what I was talking about, this opportunity in this. We can't control what the president does. We can't control what Iran does individually. However, we can take advantage of the results. So if you know a war, a threat of war, rumors of war is going to cause people to panic and the stock market to go down and people to put their money in safe havens, you might want to buy Bitcoin now before, because the price of it's going to go up. Classic supply and demand. We're squeezing right now. Looking at the real-time chart, we're in a squeeze. But look at this. I'm starting to see this bottom break just a bit, bottom Bollinger Band, and the last candlestick is in the negative. We'll see if it goes one more. Let's see if this starts to break. This might be a buy the dip strategy, meaning some people might put their coins into Tether and sit on it, and we'll see if it comes down. There's a lot of volume happening right here. So if there's a war with Iran, the price of Bitcoin is going to go up, and we can make some money. That's all I'm saying there. So learning how to read the charts is critical, because if I was reading the charts, I could predict that there was still more to go here. But an outside force, paying attention to geopolitics, Soleimani getting blown up, shot the price of Bitcoin up. So I hope that makes sense. Am I finished with this? Yeah. Pay attention to geopolitics in the news. There's a lot happening around the world right now. We're at the very beginning of a brand new year, the brand new decade. There's a lot that, is unknown. Focus on the things that you have control over. Now, today's Sunday. What else is taking place Sunday? Well, that last article, what article was that talked about newbies coming into the space because they want to do e-gaming and gambling around the world? There's going to be my partner, Peter Blackwell, and I'm so proud of Peter. Peter stumbled upon something, literally stumbled upon it because he wasn't looking for it. And he won't say this, but I will. He had a $3,000 day yesterday. One day. He's maxing out, well, let's just say more than 5 figures a week in 6 months. This thing is moving fast, and now he's on the road to, I was talking to him yesterday. It was like, Brandon, you know, my goal is to be a bona fide Euro millionaire, you know, in euros, not US dollars, a Euro millionaire by April, the next 4 months. So he is doing a presentation every single day. The unfortunate thing, the reason why I'm not doing presentations every day on it is because I am leading the way on our philanthropy and charity. So we're partners. He's holding it down over there. I'm holding it down over here. And it's not here in America yet. Americans can get in, but we can't really take advantage of it just yet. It's mostly about being in position, because the moment the doors open in America, oh, you'll see a huge shift in me. That's probably what's going to be my focus. 80% of my focus will be right there. But he's doing a presentation every single day. Positioning. The biggest industries in the world is going to be already, we got e-gaming, online gaming, and online gambling around the world. Even if you're not a gambler, it doesn't matter. Other people are. A lot of money there. It's in the crypto space. So that company is exploding. If you want to be on the presentation, because I'll be promoting it every day, that Peter is doing at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. Send me a private message and I'll get you the link for it. But it's massive. His name's Peter Blackwell. That's my partner. Simon, you should know who Peter is. I've been partners with Peter since 2014, 15, something like that. Almost since the Sherlock days. And so even my position's been there a while. I hadn't done anything with it, but I'm just shocked. It's literally millions of euros sitting there, saying, Brandon, come get it. Peter Blackwell from Sweden. That's my partner. So send me a message. I'll send you the link to the presentation. Those of you, if you're international, there's a couple of countries that I'm really looking to focus on. Canada, Mexico, Australia, and the continent of Africa. If you're from those countries or you know anybody in those countries, contact me. I'm looking for a couple of leaders. I only need maybe 2 or 3. And I'll plug you directly into Peter and go off to the races, because he is, and I know he maxed out. Yeah, Marty, it's going to be the same link every day and every time. Just invite people to that. There's a special going on as well before, today's the 5th. I think today's the last day, where whatever package you choose, you're going to be able to get the package above it for free, like an automatic upgrade. So I know I had one person that got the gold pack and she was automatically upgraded to titanium. And titanium's like $3,000 something. So she didn't have to pay that. She paid I think gold's 800 something or 700 something. So today's the last day to take advantage of it, but it is moving fast, and I have never seen anything like that. My only problem is the fact that I can't promote it like I know how in the United States. But people in America can get positioned for when that day comes, and that day is going to come. All All right, everybody, stay plugged into the news. I am doing a presentation tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on our philanthropy company. So if you want to be part of that, we've got some major news from the CEO tomorrow. Some major updates, so get ready for that. Have a blessed Sunday, everybody. Hope you learned something new. As always, that is the point. Bitcoin Brandon out. God bless. Bye-bye.